Welcome everybody. Today we will continue exploring the nature of matter. We will explore the non-concrete matters, and it will help us to make wider our understanding. So let's remember our families. May we devote this time of effort and attention towards the benefit of ourselves, our families, our teachers, our society. We share the merits of our efforts just to be here right now and the effort we will exert in the next 2 hours. May this give very fruitful mental states for everyone. We remember all our teachers, Sadhu Nandamala, Sadhu Kamsachara, specifically for all what they have given us. And we remember the teachers of all of them by paying respect to the Buddha traditionally. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava araham sama sambuddho vichacharana sampano sukato lokavidu Anutaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Panahiko Pachatamurita Vinyuhiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savakasango Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savakasango Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savakasango Samichipatipanno Bhagavato Savakasango Yadidam Chatari Purisayugani Atapurisa Pugalam Esa Bhagavato Savakasango Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anutaram Punyaketam Lukasatim Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. In one of the characteristics of the Dhamma, it says ehipasiko. It invites investigation. We should not believe anything by blind faith, but understand, listen carefully, put into experimentation, and investigate by ourselves. Make the truth visible and available in our own experience. We are talking about ourselves. We are talking about the matter we carry. We are talking about the matter we see around and interact constantly with the objects around and with the bodies of other people, and the consciousness that is knowing that. Abhidhamma is the story of us.
Thank you, Bhante. So today we are going to continue with the non-produced matter. So it sounds a little bit strange. How is it not produced? So we are going to look at it more in details. And so how is everybody? Everybody ready to start?
Okay. Let's see. Let's open bigger the cameras here. If you have your camera, please turn on so we can have contact. Yeah, everybody looking good, my dear family. Welcome.
Welcome. Okay.
I love you. Good to be together again. Let's start then. Thank you, Charamita.
Okay, so let's start. So last week we have seen the 18 types of concretely produced matter, which are the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air element. Then we have the group of the Pasada Rūpa, sensitivity matter, eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body sensitivity. Then we have the respective object, which is also kind of matter. This is a visible matter.
About the object, the object itself that reflects, and the light itself is matter, material thing. You can measure it and feel it.
Yes. And then we have sound, we have smell, and then we have taste. Then we have the gender matter. Then we have the heart base. Then we have Jivikindriya, life faculty. and then we have
nutrition.
nutriment. So all these kinds of matters, they are produced, they are caused by 4 kind of causes, which in the coming sections then we are going to look at it. And also just as a reminder that matter like Chitta and Chettasika, they don't arise alone. They have a group, no? They group together and then they arise. So there is a smallest unit, the smallest kalapa, and so some which are indivisible, not separable anymore. That's the smallest combination, and then other rupas also sometimes join together to become other kinds of rupas. And then this grouping we are also going to see in later section after we introduce all kinds of rupas.
Yeah, these rupas that are added to the original or inseparable kalapa, which is the smallest unit of matter, we can think of them as the occasional ingredients that sometimes are there or not. And the universal ingredients will be the ones that are inseparable. They will always be there. Like in the Chetasikas, the perception of the mind, it will always be there, be it kusala or akusala. It is inseparable of the original Chitta. In the same way for Rupa, we are talking about the original Kalapa and the things that comes occasionally to give them different characteristics to the matter.
Mm-hmm. So although they are inseparable, and those are actually the inseparable are 8 of them. 8 of them are called Awini Boga inseparables. Later we will look at it in details, but they are a combination of 8 now, so they still have their own characteristics. So therefore in this first enumeration sections, we are looking at them one by one to see their own characteristics. Just as a revision, then these 18 rupas are also called Anipphanna Rūpa, which are matters that are produced by the 4 causes. And then they are called Sabhava Rūpa. Each of them have their intrinsic nature, their own characteristic. And then they are called Rupa Rūpa, which because they are real matter, really matter.
Solid.
And then they are also called Samasana Rūpa, because they are the object of Vipassana. So the ones that we are going to see today, the other 10, they are not objects of Vipassana. So when we contemplate mind and matter in Vipassana meditation, so mind, the Chitta and Chettasika, which we have already covered in previous chapter, and the Rupas, which are objects of Vipassana, are these 18 only. Yes, Alex, have a question?
Thank you, Bhante and Charana. 2 quick questions. Regarding the elements, is the so-called akasha or space considered one of them?
Yes, we will see today. It's one of the non-concrete, or sometimes it's one of the occasional of matter. We can call it like that. We will see today.
It's actually the next one.
Okay. And the second one is it possible as an object of Vipassana for a male to meditate on a female matter, or just to perceive his own male components?
It is not advised by the Buddha. For example, when he described the Metta Bhavana and Asubhanusati, the Buddha expressly said that it is better. I hope I understand well the question. It is better for a male to contemplate or send metta to, for example, when thinking about a benefactor, to choose a male. So the mind will not get distracted. In the case, that person that is your benefactor, but was actually attractive, if it is of the opposite sex, the mind easily can get attached to the qualities of the beauty of that person instead of the wholesome qualities of that person. So when practicing metta, it is an instruction that I don't promote too much in our culture, because often when I tried, there was a little bit of a cultural shock. How come I cannot send metta, but to the opposite sex? But yes, the Buddha expressly said that it is much safer to send metta to persons of the same sex. And also when contemplating Asubha, for example, when the Buddha gave to monks, this is an instruction given to monks to contemplate autopsies or or the bodies in the cemetery, in the common fossa común, I don't know how to say, in the charnel ground. It was advised by the Buddha better for monks, male monks, to contemplate male bodies, to see their characteristics. I am of the same nature of that body, instead of looking at female bodies, and for the nuns was the same instruction. So if that was on that, the question was on that line, it is advised to contemplate nature, trying to avoid the possibility for the mind to get attached on what we are already attached. It's generally the beauty of the opposite sex in general terms.
And thank you, Bante. This is a very good perspective of looking, because we have tendency, and Loba is very tricky, so we have to be careful. Now another point, technically. So technically, when we contemplate on the Vipassana meditation, we contemplate on the present object. So the mind that is arising at the present moment, and those matters that are arising in the present moment. So if one is a male or one is a female, unless you have abhinya, you don't know the present rupa that is arising in the lady or in the man. Technically, unless you have abhinya, no. So in that case, then it is more
on the person, on the
individual
itself,
what is arising right now at this
there.
Present moment inside oneself, no. Although in the Satipatthana Sutta it also said observe inside and outside, no. But then this inside object and outside object, in the next section we are going to look at the classifications. So then you will see what means by inside object, what means by outside object also.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that clear, Don Alex?
That makes perfectly clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so in this case, let's continue with the with the other non-concretely produced matter. So today we are going to see the 10th other kinds of rupas. Altogether 28 types of rupa. We have already seen 18, and now the other 10 is called Anipphanna Rūpa, which are matters that are not concretely produced.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you may see that the translation say non-concretely produced matter, but according to Sayadaw Silananda, this non should connect with produced, not connected with not concrete. So so not that it is produced but not concretely, and is actually not produced. So because they are not caused by any of the four causes, no? So these 10 rupas does not arise from the four causes, just what we said. So what are they then? So they are actually some kind of qualities or attributes or modes of the 18 concretely produced matter. So they are not actually real matters, but they are some kind of qualities or attributes of those 18 types of matters. But because they are related to the matters and they are not always there, so it is included in the Rupa classification, in the Rupa group, but they are not actually real matters. So when we come to introduce them, then you will understand.
You will see why. How. Yeah, how they differ from Rupa.
So how they are different. Now the first one is the one that Alex has been asking. It's called space element, akasa dhatu. So space element, according to the Buddha's teaching, this material property or this rupa that is inside the Rupa group delimits
the other rupas.
Or actually it is one or only. So delimits or separates one group of rupa from another. So
it is actually what is between the rupa.
Mm-hmm.
So as we understand space.
So although those kalapas, those inseparable ones, or the other group of rupas, that they are touching each other, they are joining together, but there are some space in between them, mm-hmm. so that we know this is one kalapa and this is another kalapa, this is another kalapa, this is another kalapa, no? So those space that delimits those kalapas are called space element here. So this space element is actually not caused by anything. It has no actual existence. It's just because they are in between two real rupa. So the void or the separation between two or more groups of material properties is called akasa dhatu here, space element. So they are not produced by something, but because there are other rupas, so they exist in this sense, no, between.
Actually, in terms of relation, it is kind of that kind of rupa is in relation of the other rupas, because this rupa is finished and then another one is here. Whatever is surrounding it or is delimiting the other ones, that's what is called akasa. The space in between.
Space element, yeah. So this, remember, the 10 kinds of rupa that we are going to look at now are not really rupa, no? They are the qualities or some kind of special modification or special modes of rupa. So don't see them as something
another
rupa.
Another particle. Thinking on that term.
Yes,
that line.
So they are only qualities or special attributes to those rupas. Now, in the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha actually taught 4 kinds of rupas. 4 kinds of space, not 4 kinds of rupas.
4 kinds of spaces.
Yeah, 4 kinds of akasa or spaces. So what are they? The first one is called an entangled space, ajata akasa. And the next one is called delimited space, parichina kasa. Third one is the concept of infinite space, akasa nancha yatana.
The jhanas get this object, we will get there.
Which is akasa dhatu. So now we are going to look at each one of them. So the Buddha explained that there are 4 kinds of spaces. Now, the unentangled space, ajata kasa, is the open space that we usually say that like say for example when we see in this image the space between the sky and the earth, so there are a lot of space now. So this kind of space is called in Pali ajata kasa. So unentangled space is one kind of space that the Buddha taught that exists. And then another one is called delimited space, parichina kasa. So delimited space means that there are something that is surrounding, like a window or like a door. So inside something that is being surrounded, delimited. So those space is also one kind of space.
Yes. So right now we are living on that space. Is the space that the house, the materiality of the house engulfs. So we are living on that space, and when we go out, we go to the first kind of space, the open space, or the space delimited by something.
For example, in this container, so this is called delimited space, no? Like because of this, then there is this space or like this hole. So this is the space, no? So this is another space that the Buddha explained.
So we can experience the space outside our body, or the space when we have the mouth closed, like if you feel your mouth closed, the space that is between your palate and the tongue, that kind of enclosed space. These 2 variations of space the Buddha gave, and later on we understand why and how do they relate to practice. Why did he taught this kind of characteristics or different modes for space?
Actually, when now that Bhante is talking about this space or in connection with practice, in chapter 9 we will see in one of the meditation object for samatha meditation. And when we see light, the perception of light, it's also not just light, open light, and you have to see that light in a delimited space.
Yes.
So that the mind can concentrate. Otherwise, so much light and one cannot concentrate the mind in meditation. So this is those kind of light that is within a limited space. And so all this, that's why the Buddha explained about all this.
Like, I don't know if it happens to you when you were a child and then for some reason lying on the bed and then you see a ray of light and you see the particles or dust. Did anybody take a look at that before? Like the dust moving on the rays? That would be the perfect object for practicing the jhana of light. I mean, practicing the meditation on light. It's something that is delimited, is not so broad like the sunlight in outside, which you can also do contemplation of it. But when you have a ray coming from a little hole in the tile or the walls, you can contemplate and concentrate very fine on the characteristics of light. So this is why the Buddha later on, all these characteristics of matter and space, uses all this information to give us very clear and very precise instructions for the cultivation of mental stability and the development of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So there are two kinds of spaces that we have looked at. Now we're going to the third kind of space. So this space is called the concept of infinite space, akasananjayatana. And when we study the chittas, then we have looked at this already, and also the objects. So this is actually the object of the first arupa vachara jhana. So remember, let's say a person, he's taking the kasina object like the earth disk. So he have the earth disk, and then he concentrate, and it becomes so polished like a mirror, and in his mind, then he gets higher and higher jhana. And then at the end, when he want to continue after Rupa Vachara Jhana to Arupa Vachara Jhana, then he removed the whole kasina object, and then he expand his mind to infinite space, infinite space, no? So that concept, because it's not real, it's only a concept in his mind.
It says the concept of infinite space is not really experienced, but the mind get this concept as a meditation object and just feel, and even ourselves right now, just think on infinite space. Or we are floating on the cosmos, our galaxy, and not to say our planet and sun, we are floating on space. This kind of infinite space, we can get it as a concept and kind of get a connection with it. That thing is not a concrete matter, but it's a characteristic that can be referred to matter. And but it's a concept. This is only conceptual.
It's not matter. And then the other one is the delimiting space, which we have just seen right now. That is the space between matter, between the groups of matter. So the groups of matter we will see in another section. But this delimiting space, akasa dhatu, is what we are looking at here. So only this is included in the Rupa classification, and it is a little bit different from the second one we will see now. So it delimits or separates different groups of material phenomena. So this is the akasa dhatu is the only one that is included among the four kind of space in Rupa. So it is different from the delimited space at the second one, because the other one is also a concept. It's just because it is surrounded by something, then we see a space there, like negative space. Now sometimes we say
negative space, yeah.
So those kinds are in the second group. That is also a concept. So all other ones are actually only concept. Only this akasa dhatu, the ones that is
delimiting.
In between, delimiting the particle
yes.
of kalapas, is included in the Rupa group.
In the matter, yes. Now, one thing to make a parallel with physics and science, one of the things we must be aware is that when we say kalapa, we are not saying atoms, because generally in matter we understand atoms as the smallest unit of matter, which we already know that is subdivided into some other energies, the quarks and all that. So when we say kalapa, instead of thinking of atoms, because if we say, actually, right now we are saying there is a particle of matter and another particle of matter, and we are talking about the space in between, but then the mind will say, well, actually, the atom itself is 99% space. The atom in itself contains space, so which one is it? So now let's think smaller. When the Buddha said kalapa, he was not saying atoms. He was saying the indivisible
smallest unit of matter.
Amount of matter. So in that case, we can start thinking about quarks, and even more contemporary science with the Hadron Collider and all of that are trying to find out more and more particles that can be inseparable anymore. The God particle and all that, the thing that gives matter, the matteriness of it. So we can start thinking, when the Buddha says kalapa, we're thinking about those energies, not the atom itself. Otherwise, we might get confused with the space that the atom, in comparison to the kalapas, will be something very big, which actually contains space. Is that clearer? Yeah, okay. So later on, Fer, we can have a discussion. What is the point of view of physics about all this? And let's try to find, as we move forward, let's see what parallels you can envision.
Okay, so sometimes when I was looking at these 4 kind of space, I thought the Buddha is really amazing, because he don't leave anything out. So he don't leave anything that people can get confused. So when he explained about the space element, he also mentioned like also other types of space that we understand as space.
We can perceive as
yeah.
space, yeah.
Yes.
The conceptual one or the space, the limiting matter.
Okay, so now let's continue with another type of not concretely produced matter, matter that are not caused by the 4 causes. Now, the next one that we are coming to is called Viññati Rūpa.
This is very interesting. This is very nice. I like so much.
Viññati Rūpa is called in English intimating material phenomena. So what do they do? Actually, we see this every day. So the first one is called Kaya Viññati, body intimation, and then another one is called Vaji Viññati, verbal intimation. So what are they? Actually, they are something that is in the material property that we make our intention or our desire known to other people. So we communicate by this intimating material phenomena. Now it still sounds like a little bit what is that, but then now we will come into more details.
Now let's look a little bit at the word intimation. Intimation comes from intimacy. You can be intimate with yourself, or you can be intimate with somebody else. To call for intimation is to come together. Let's come together and touch, not physically, but touch each other, like communicate one another. So there are 2 ways to do it. With the body, for example, if I say this, I'm actually communicating something to you, which is saying something without even speaking. The body, there is something in the mind that is generating these communication particles, we can think on that way. These communication particles that will move the body in order to convey and communicate, intimate with somebody else. Through the body, verbal intimation, Kaya Viññati or Vachi Viññati, which is the thing that is right now happening. The mind has intention, it brings and crushes air and pushes it out. It goes towards you, and then Charana will explain more about this
in a second. Everything already. Now we can finish. Bye, everybody.
No, but it's very interesting. You will see this one very nice. Come on, Charana, surprise us. Surprise us. I know you have much more. You will see. But anyway, this is really interesting. The ability of the mind to wanting to communicate and touch. This, the Buddha separated as different kinds of matter. This is really intriguing. Really interesting. Yes, Don Fer.
I guess all face gestures are included in here.
Yes. All face gesture, mind, and posture of the body is on the first Kaya Viññati. Yes, Charanita, please.
So it is a particular mode or modification in the material property. So now we will see some examples.
Wait. Repeat that, please, again. It's a particular mode or modification in the material properties in order to intimate, in order to communicate with somebody else. Look how important this is. We live with this. We live for this. How we modified our matter in order to make intimation with somebody else through the body or through our voice.
Okay, so let's look a little bit more detail. So Bhante already made a very complete introduction.
Just introduction.
And so Kaya Viññati, body intimation, is actually a kind of particular mode in the movement that gives us message. For example, if you see this person, you know what he says. He says what? He says stop, no?
Don't come. No? Hold it.
Yeah, and then how about this person? Like if you see like this, okay, no? So it is something that shows you a message.
And that fair will be accompanied with a wink. Like, okay, like this, it will be the same. You can do it with the face. You can do only with the face as well. Like, okay, or with the head. Every modification that we do to matter, specifically our own matter, in order to convey a message and intimate with somebody else.
Yes, okay. So if you see this person, then you know what he wants. Yes. So he's saying, come. No, he's saying. So actually this movement arises because the mind has the intention. So this person he's calling, he wants to call somebody, he wants to call. So with intention, of course, mind arises with intention. So billions and billions and billions of
mental units, yes,
arise and passes away. Then together with this
intention,
with this mind, then a lot of chitta jarupa, mind produced matter, are produced,
generated.
So, yes, so this kind of matter which is generated in this case are wind or air element prominent. So it is created by the mind. And so with this wind element, then the body move, then you do an action. So what we perceive as movement is actually the increase of vayodadu being produced by the mind.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Our body has, every matter we know has the 4 elements, but when there is intention to move, then the mind itself generates more wind element matters. That's why the matter is so charged of air or movement that suddenly starts to move. So actually, in terms of the body, the only thing is that the mind generating particles are starting to make movement in order with the intention to call the attention of somebody else and give a message. So we are talking, my dear family, look at the beauty. I feel always fascinated by this matter. Look at the beauty of this. This is the frontier between the inner world, between our experience myself and my mind, and the external world. This is the link, how the mind, wanting to communicate, as we do all the time, even with animals, is modifying the matter, going beyond itself in order to reach for the other one. All our relations are based on this. It is really a very fruitful and very vast arena for investigation. Really, really nice. And intention is based on intention, and based on that will be the message that we want to give and what we will plant in our karmic potentiality.
Yes, Nancy.
Yes, Nancy and Faye.
So is that creating matter or just modifying the matter?
It's actually chitta ja vayodadu. So vayodadu, air element, is concretely produced matter. So the mind produced this matter, which is air prominent. Like there is a lot of air in those matter, but this Vaji Vinyati is not being produced. It is one kind of modification or attribute, let's say, not modification, but one kind of quality that exists in this matter because it is a movement that shows a message. Because sometimes we move without wanting to say anything to someone, not giving message, we just move. So those kind of same, because let's say I want to go to the toilet, I just walk to the toilet.
Or when you change posture in the chair, you are not really trying to say nothing something to somebody else. So you're just moving.
So I walk. So that intention also produced the air element. Then those are really produced, but that does not have the Kaya Vinyati there. So the intimation
is not present.
Intimation quality is not there. But so therefore I said it is produced by mind, but this Vaji Vinyati also it is only mind, but it is not produced by any cause, as we said. But it is just quality in that movement that shows a message.
So when we say Chitta Rupa, Chitta is what we know. Ija comes from Jati, from borning. It's born from the mind. Mm-hmm. This kind of thing. So we can say, Nancy, we can say, yes, the mind kind of generates this, but let's remember that this is an attribute of matter. The wind is already on the other matters. So actually, we can think about this. The mind is kind of making to the wind. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Every element of matter already has wind. So it is produced by the mind, and it is exalted produced more or exalted. The matter already has wind. So it is, instead of being fiery and we feel hot, like when we get angry, that would be most prominent. It will be movement and wake up, wake up. The mind is kind of bringing the windy movement qualities for the matter to move,
Yes.
and hence later on communicate.
Yes. Can I finish with this before we go to Fernando?
Yeah.
So actually, matter and mind arises and passes away very quickly, you know. So every mind, every chitta produce matter. Later we will see some, well, only a few of them do not, but most of them, they produce matter. So those matter produced by the mind, they also arise and passes away very quickly. So what happened is that like we see previously, actually nothing moves. But then the mind produced matter here, then those passed away already.
And then it produced here.
Then it produced in another position, which is very close, in a close distance. Then we produce in another place, it produced in another place, in another place. So when you stick them together, it's kind of like it is moving, but actually nothing is moving. It's just arises and passes away
in a different position. Yeah. So nothing is burning, nothing is moving. It's just like a flame of a candle arising and passing away, different positions, and we perceive it as movement. But actually, we are dying billions of times per second. We are dying and burning, dying and burning. The matter is. So, my dear family, when we say that mind and matter, how many times have we listened? Oh, mind and matter is connected. Here in this class, we have to speak so much about it. Can we see how intimate they are? Really? The body is produced by the quality of the mind. It's not just that they are related. And the body informs the mind, and the mind reacts and gives, and our body and movement, if the hand is here, is because of mind. If the hand is here, is because of mind. The mind is directing where and how the matter borns. Billions and billions of units per second.
Yes. And of course, don't forget that in this body there are also karma produced matter. There are also nutrient produced
yes,
matter.
Not only mind.
Also, not only mind. Also,
yes.
So mind is one type of matter that produced. So this is a mix of the matter that are produced by the four causes.
How interesting, my dear family! Isn't it fascinating? It's super interesting. Yes, Nancy, please. No, but Nancy has some comment, and then we go to Fer. Yes, Nancy. So we close with that.
So just to say that the mind is a producer. Can we say that?
Not the only one, but yes.
Yes, not the only one, but
it produces matter.
Karma, as Charana says, karma also produces matter. Our nutriment, the food we took today, is producing matter right now. That's why when we eat chili, we feel hot because of the chili directly. We were not hot before we take the chili, then we feel hot, and then the temperature, it is one of them, and it is one of the, in terms of mental development, maybe one of the most important. Chitta and Kama will be the most important because it refers directly to our mental actions. Yes? Good, Nancy? Then we go to Fer. Yes, Don Fer, please.
My question was just answered with this slide, so I'm fine.
Okay. So what is this?
So let's read it and then we'll go further. So actually nothing moves. What we call movement is actually one set of material properties disappears and another set of material properties arises at the next moment at a very small distance from the one that have just disappeared. So it is arises here, passes away, then it didn't go anywhere, then it arises and passes away in another position, arises and passes away in another position. So we perceive it as movement, just like what we see in the
animation. That's why we relate so easily to movies. That's why we relate so easily to animations. It's just the same thing. Like when the disco, when we go to the rave or to, well, not when we go to the rave, but when you go to, or anybody goes to a rave, when you have the stroboscopic light, you see the people moving like this. It's just that moment to moment. Only with the stroboscope we can see it in slow motion, and we can see that we are here, and then we are here, and we are here. But it happens so fast. The resolution of life, the case of life is not 4K, is not 8K, it's 1,000 and billions and trillions of K. It's so good, the resolution that we are moving at, that we totally get fooled by the illusion that I am, we are.
Okay, yes. So with this animation, it's very clear that it is actually, this paper, it's no way that it is moving, but it is moving. Yes, so it's the same for human beings as well.
Nothing moves, but it moves.
Nothing moves and it creates the illusion that it is moving, no? Okay, so movement with the intention of communicating something is what is called kaya vinyati, body intimation. Okay, so not only whatever kind of movement, but a movement that wants to say something, because there are movements that are not called vinyati. For example, if the leaves, it is moved by the wind, it is moving, but it does not want to communicate anything. Or a person, then he is sleeping and he's just moving, then this kind of movement also is produced by the mind because he wants to move, no? In the case of the person. So also mind produced the matter with a lot of vayodadu, and then he moved, but he does not want to say anything.
Definitely intention was there to move. This case was triggered by uncomfortable or pain. That's why we change position. It becomes painful here, then we move, and etc. etc. Mm-hmm. One thing, my dear family, please pay attention to this little thing. Why outside in nature, why do things move? If they're not animals, let's say the vegetation, what do they move? Because of wind, isn't it?
Because of heat.
There is heat or wind will move them.
Temperature
will distend them, and then they will make a small movement. But actually, when we see a palmera, when we see a palm tree moving from side to side, who is moving it? Even outside, this is the unbelievable thing. This was a shock that I got in 2008 contemplating about this. I was outside the meditation hall after some meditation inside, like samatha meditation. I come out and I start looking very beautiful. The palm trees in Yangon were moving, and suddenly I recognize the movement is happening because of wind. If there is no wind, the palms do not move. So in the same way, my dear family, nature works outside and inside in the same way. We need the only component who generates movement is wind, the intention and the wind, and the same happens in our body, in nature. As those live, they need the wind element in order to be moved.
Now, everything is very much connected. No, it's sometimes we understand this in this way, but in reality, it's a little bit more complex. For example, although the mind wants to move, but not only with mind, like Nancy said, mind is the producer, yes, but it's only one of the conditions, because other conditions must also come together so that everything can work. So nothing is only come from one cause only. For example, a person who is who has an accident and he cannot move his feet, although however much he has the intention he wants to move, he cannot move. So because not all the condition is together. So
also the flexibility of matter. We have a rock, a lot of wind comes to crush on that rock, but the solidity of that matter will not move. Even if there is you will need a lot of wind in order to move it, but it will change because of the qualities of the matter. In terms of hardness and softness, will be more movable than others. Hot and cold, as we know, cold things tend to move less. Even the particles are moving less. When it is very, very cold, they're like frozen, and when it is hot, now it has more way to distend and even to separate at some degrees. So it will be involved many qualities of matter for all this movement to happen.
Yeah, many conditions.
Yes, Don Alex, pregunta and then continuamos.
Thank you. Will it be the same for the sort of body language that we don't do consciously? For example, if we are some sort of anxious, or if one person is in front of us, he might read our body language, but we're not intent to communicate anything.
Yes, because look, Alex, the intention of the mind is there. We are blind to it, and we don't know that we are doing, but the whole process is happening. The mind has intention, it feels some discomfort or nervousness, and the body starts moving, and it is actually conveying some message. There is no intention to convey. We cannot call it puachi, vinyati, kaya vinyati, directly, because you don't have the thing, but it is happening. The tension is there. The only difference in this case is the attention of the individual. The individual doesn't know that it is conveying those information which other people can pick up. As primates that we are, as social primates that we are very, very good to find the very small movements, trying to understand the feelings and the mental states of others. For human beings, it's very important, apparently, social humans, to know the mental states of others, because that really color the experience we have and relations, etc., etc. This is something we're talking about, something really important for humans, communication and how it happens. Fascinating, really. This is one of my favorite areas of this chapter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so shall we continue?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So the next one is called Waji Vinyati, which is vocal intimation. So it's quite similar with Kaya Vinyati. So it is actually a kind of particular mode in the sound that gives a message. So the sound itself, the sound matter itself is concretely produced by mind, no? Because now I want to say something. So this sound is being produced because of the mind. But this Waji Vinyati that want to communicate something is a particular mode of the modification of this sound.
Of matter.
So the sound itself is not Waji Vinyati, but it is something inherent in that sound that some people listen to it and they understand the message.
Yes, and actually, when we communicate, the body is also moving. So I would say that both are working. Kaya Vinyati needs to do something in order to move the throat, the tongue, and open and close the mouth. Some Kaya Vinyati is doing. Also, as we're doing, if I tell you something very smiley, I'm giving two different messages. What I'm saying and the smiliness, or if I say it very, very seriously, the body will be giving a message supporting the words or the sounds that are being expelled because of the intention of the mind to communicate something clearly in the sense of words or sounds to others.
Yes, so this sound arises again because of intention, because I want to say something, because the mind have an intention to communicate a message to someone. So in this case, again, billions and billions and billions of mind arises, which each of them create now this time a lot of material properties, but it is earth element prominent in this case. So this earth element being produced in the throat is what actually makes the sound. So the friction between one element and the other elements make the sound. So this sound that we are now listening is being produced by the friction of the matter produced by the mind with earth element prominent that is in the throat and making the sound.
So the vocal cords, how you say vocal cords, las cuerdas vocales, that is the thing. Because of the friction among them, we will actually play them. That's why it's called chord, and it will get, if we stretch it, it will give a higher pitch, or if we distend it, it will get just like a guitar. When we speak low and something like this, the string is very short, and when we stretch it up and then go up and higher, then the sound will come. And all would that be based on this friction because of the mentally produced earth element matters that will make the friction so the sound can be expelled. I mean, I will not be tired of telling you how amazing I feel this area, really, really.
Okay, so I think it's quite clear. So let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this particular mode or modification, which we can detect in the movement or in the sound, is what we call vinyati. So not the movement itself and not the sound itself, but that
friction and intention.
That message, the thing that we can, the modification that we can detect in it is what is called vinyati. So we have Waji Vinyati and we have Kaya Vinyati.
But wait.
I pressed it one more.
Yeah,
yeah.
So many things we can say without talking. Unbelievable. And when we start contemplating now in terms of practice, my dear family, when we contemplate our intentions and how we communicate to others and how others communicate to us and the need for humans to be in contact with others, there is a very, very wide stage for exploration. What is happening? Why do people want to communicate in the first place? Everything, when we pull the string, we will find out that finally all is based on kusala or akusala intention. Intention will be the thing that makes us move, and then we can start bringing it home. How this information will make me to become a better human being. by contemplating with detail what is happening and choosing and seeing the importance of the mental intention in whatever movement, word that we bring out, we will be having an intention and planting seeds. Nature, from every angle that we look at it, is really, really logical and amazing to see how everything starts to come together. The body, the mental, the physical experience and the mental experience starts to come married together. So until now, my dear family, anybody question, comment? How are we? How do you see this information? How do you feel? How is it arriving?
Thank you, Bante. I just want to confirm, to reassure that with our voice, with our air, with our movements, we can change matter in a certain sense, of course. Is that the topic of what you are teaching us?
It's actually not change matter, but produce matter.
Because
produce.
Yeah, because if we say change, it is something that was here and is again here. That's why it changed. Actually, it's produced and I produced and I produced and I produced and I. So actually, technically speaking, it would be better to say that we are, yes, making all that movement produced with our intention. Yes. Generated.
Okay, thank you.
Created, more than change. Yes.
Yes, because it lasts only 17 mind moments. No, it so fast arises and passes away. There is no time to modify it or change it. Actually, it just arises and it passes away. So it is newly produced.
Yes, the mind is changing, and yes, in conventional terms, because now we're looking with the microscope, really, really small. But in conventional terms, yes, what you said is right. We are actually modifying the body and producing the sound in order to convey and connect with another being. Yes. ¿Cómo nos llega? How is the information arriving, my dear family? One more comment, if somebody has something.
Still a little bit confusing because it's a very new concept from the perception of matter that I have in English. Is it like some sort of mixture in the message and the intention itself, what makes the vignati quality, if I understood?
Not the message. It's not the message. It is the intention of the mind and the matter that is generated in order to give a message to somebody else.
Okay.
The message has the intention only will be present. What kind of intention that will carry, but not the message in itself, but the intention to touch somebody else through communication through the body or communication directly from the mouth with verbal content.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it will get clearer and clearer the more we go forward. And I have to say, as musician, in this chapter, I got a lot of shocks to know that sound actually is matter. Actually, sound is matter. We have spoken about this, but many shocks for everybody comment this, because many things that we consider mind, it happened that it was actually matter. Many things that we consider matter, it was actually generated by the mind. You see how interesting it becomes when we start applying. Yes. Okay, so shall we continue or somebody has something else? Yes, Fer.
There is a movement of matter because of temperature or heat.
Of temperature.
Like we saw that there is a movement caused by the air element, well, associated with the air element. If there is something similar with the fire element.
That depends on very much what we mean by heat. What we mean by movement. If we mean this kind of movement, then generally it is air. But there are also heat that is created in the body, but for something else.
One of the things why we cannot say directly, why I feel I cannot say directly yes or no, I agree with Charana. As far as we understand, it is only wind who does it. But heat facilitates the movement. The presence of heat facilitates it. Because when we see ice, it will be very difficult for us to break it or to move it around, because the temperature, the fire element is making it more difficult for it to move. Then when we boil the water or when we put at room temperature, the water will be very easy. Wind will come through. So I would say that it does not generate movement, but it will be an ingredient that will facilitate the movement or the non-movement of matter. So they will be everybody bringing their own function will improve the movement. But as far, we will ask, is an interesting question, we will ask our teacher, but I also feel same as Charana, as far as we understand and feel, I think it will be only wind. We will check it out with Seado.
I remember that once Seado, when he explained about walking meditation, about the movement, I think he mentioned air element and heat element also.
Yes.
So, but also remember that the four primary elements, heat, water, air, and earth, they are always together, no? So it cannot be separated. When there is air, there must be earth, there must be water, there must be air, plus other inseparables, which we are going to look at. So they are always together anyway.
Yes. That better than
now, which one does his own function?
We will check. So
the purpose of asking is in very small particles, in molecules, there is a movement called Brownian, well, it is what is called with this name, Brownian movement, and it's dependent on the energy or temperature of those particles. So it will be like amazing if the Buddha had described this 2,500 years ago.
Yes. We will check for, and also there are some teachers who are specialized in different areas of the Abhidhamma. We will dig on this one. We will try to figure out. I will say that it will be, I agree, it will be very amazing, and now I have curiosity, so let's try to find it out. Let's go to the bottom of this.
Thank you.
Okay, my dear.
So let's continue. Okay, so that is Vaji Vinyati and Kaya Vinyati, which is a particular mode of modification which we detect in the movement of the sound. This is called vinyati. So not the sound itself, nor the movement itself. So it's something inside that movement or inside that sound that we can detect the
that
message.
Wants to convey something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go to another group. Well, actually another types, three special qualities or special mode of matter. So now there are three special things that can also arise in matter. The first one is called Rupa Salahuta, which is lightness of Rupa. Then we have Rupa Mudutta, softness or malleability of Rupa. Then we have Rupa Kamanyata, which is wildness or flexibility of Rupa. So these three sounds very familiar, no? Because we have seen them also in Chitta. When we see the Chetasikas, we have the pairs, lightness of Chitta, lightness of Chetasika, lightness of Chitta, malleability of Chitta and Chetasika, flexibility of Chitta and Chetasika, and there are some more.
These, as you remember, they are universal Chetasikas or Chetasikas of Kusala. So every time we are in the beautiful neighborhood of our mind, the mind and the matter is experiencing this lightness, this malleability, and this flexibility. That's why to feel love, to feel gratitude, to do service feels good in the body. The body feels light and happy. So these are the microscopic ingredients, and in terms of matter, how our wholesome mental states affect how we perceive and experience the body.
Yes, so these three, the lightness of lightness, softness, and flexibility of matter itself, these three, they always arise together. So when there is lightness, there is also softness and flexibility. So the three of them, they arise together. These three qualities. Actually, they are not other types of matter, but how the matter is. Some quality of the matter. They give
quality to the matter that is already present. It makes it lighter, malleable, and flexible. The matter that is already there from the four Mahabhutas, the four main elements.
And other elements that are together, no? So, and then these matters are only to be found in living beings. So it cannot be found in other material things, not only in living beings that this material property arises. And now another thing is that now Bhante said that when there is a kusala mind, of course, when the mind is good, then it feels happy, and then this quality also is present. But also, when climate is good, weather is good, when the food is nutritious, and when we are healthy also, so we feel this lightness in the body as well, so it is also created, this quality of metta also will be present when these situations are there.
Mm-hmm.
Good climate, good weather, we have nutritious food, and when the body is healthy. So,
and if our karma is good also.
So
this little girl there is called Nancy.
So this Nancy is very light.
This Nancy is very nicely
very light
moving.
and very flexible, and so this is not actually the rupa itself, but some kinds of quality that are in those rupa.
How smiley.
So now this also about the mind, and what Bhante said about kusala. So there is this saying from Mother Teresa. Joy is a sign of generosity. When you are full of joy, you move faster and you want to go about doing good to everyone. So clearly, this is mind created. No?
Imagine what our grandma sister is saying. When you are joyful, you are generous, the body moves faster. You want to know, she's just through another lens describing the nature of wholesomeness, the nature of goodness, the nature of service and altruism. That's why all the teacher says that the ultimate source of physical and mental happiness is service to others, altruist and help others. It is. I mean, how things starts becoming, you see how things, mind and matter starts, all the pieces of the puzzle starts coming together. This is why, because of these ingredients are there, so it becomes more and more solid. What we are trying to do in purifying the mind, it becomes more and more solid with all the more information the Buddha gave.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so this Chitta Jaya Rupa, Rupa that is produced by the mind, and when there is kusala, then so it most probably associate also with the lightness and the malleability and the flexibility. So we feel good and we feel light, and then we feel that we can move fast and do good. You know? Okay, so let's continue. So the ones that we just saw, these 5 of them, is called Vikara Rupa, multiple matters. So it changes, it gives a special, mutable. It gives a special quality to the thing. So the 2 Vinyati, body intimation, verbal intimation, and the 3 qualities, lightness, softness, and the flexibility of the body. So these are also special qualities of not concretely produced, not exactly produced, but they are some kind of attributes to the concretely produced matter.
Wow, this already scared me a little bit, because males, we generally tend to be more stiff than females in terms of body. I can see when we used to go, the one who have a couple and has gone with a wife or girlfriend to yoga class, is it true that females generally have more flexibility, yes or not? Yes, I think everybody says yes. So I'm wondering, I'm a little bit afraid, if this flexibility is based on your mental quality, are female more wholesome than male?
I don't think you can.
I don't know, like something must be there, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely males have more desires to be dealing with, and maybe sometimes more aggressive and anger. That's also a general characteristic. I mean, most of the wars in the world, or all the wars, I didn't saw any war that was started by females. So something must be there. I'm a little bit afraid by now. It's just a general thought, but maybe flexibility of body. Let's see how it relates to mine.
I think it's just structure of the body is different. The men are more, usually they have more strength.
Yeah, more strength, less flexibility.
In the yoga class, if you do handstanding, who can stay longer?
Yeah,
no?
That's true.
So I think it's just difference of
good point.
Body structure. So
thank you, my dear friend.
anyway.
You save my day of worriness. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, anyway, so let's see another group now. Break time. Okay, do you need a break? If you need a break, then we can do just 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute, very quickly. Then.
So until now, how does everybody feel about how the Buddha explained about metta?
It is very interesting.
Very interesting.
And I think that the purpose of this kind of explanation is to link it with experience.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
That's that's why we find it very different from materialistic, the explanation given by science or physics.
Yes, yes.
And that,
the purpose of is not to teach biology, but his purpose is to
Yes.
teach the way to freedom. So to understand how mind and matter really works, to understand things as they really are, that they are because of conditions, not because of a self.
yes.
So
Anatta, all this is going to
for
anatta, non-self, non-soul. And I think this commentary of Fer will apply also, Diegazo, remembering that the Buddha could have explained much more things about matter and things, but he only focused on the things that were going and are going to be useful, as we will see in chapter 9, to be able to make peace with nature and generate wisdom, purify the mind. So I'm sure he even mentioned that he could explain much more things, but he only explained what was useful for the liberation of suffering. Okay, everybody, I think everybody's here.
Yes, and
Let's
also our teacher always remind us that the study of Abhidhamma is actually for that purpose, for application and for to have information and to have the map. So when we meditate and when we practice, when we really look into ourselves and we see what is what, and then we can understand it with guidance. No, otherwise we have to find out all these things by ourselves, which it will be very difficult. Yes, Guillermo.
Thank you. I'm very impressed with the concept of the power of intention. I didn't imagine that the Buddha put that into producing, generating things with only your intentions. It is really very good news in our capability of doing good things and to transform our ignorance into wisdom.
Yes, and as you remember, intention is the mother of karma. It is karma itself. So actually, the law of nature is based on that intention. Because we have intention, we plant seeds, and because of those seeds, we got this life, and we'll get future lives as we got them. It is beyond imagination, the importance of intention of the mind.
The Buddha said himself, what I call karma is cetana.
Intention of the mind.
Cetasika, cetana.
Yes, in universal state. So it is really going deeper with implications in the mind, with implications in the body, with implications in samsara. It is based on it. It is really, you just touched, Guillermo, the core of the thing that we must be aware when we meditate. What is the intention? Not the word we say, but the intention for which we are saying that word. That is the one that is going to plant the seed. So, very interesting, easily accessible. We can know our intentions, and we should work to purify those. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Very
so
good.
everybody back. Let's continue. So the last four that we're going to look at is called Anipphanna Rūpa, characteristics of matter. So usually when we talk about characteristics, it's mostly impermanence, anicca, dukkha, anatta, no? Impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. But here, in this case, is a little bit different. This characteristic of matter, which is grouped in together with the matter, is actually four of them. The first one is called Rūpasa Upachaya, production of matter. Rūpasa Santati, the continuity of matter. Rūpasa Jarata, decay of matter. And Rūpasa Anicca, the impermanence of matter. So these four are the characteristics of matter. It being produced, and it decayed, and then it...
continues, produce, continues, decay, and the changing of it.
And the changing, and then impermanence, or the death of it, now we may say. So now we will go into a little bit details on what these words mean. So it is again quite amazing of what the Buddha has explained about this. So again, this is not a particular matter, but it is the characteristics of all kinds of concretely produced matter. Yeah. Okay. So now let's see the first two, upachaya and santati. Actually, these two terms both means the arising or the birth of matter. So now we will see what are the difference. The first one is now upachaya. When when a human being is born, in the moment of conception, rebirth, patisandhi moment, what arises is vipaka citta, plus is cetasikas, of course, as well as 30 material properties produced by karma arise together.
Attention, 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 something is coming. This area will be important later on.
So in this time, in the rebirth linking moment, the patisandhi citta together with the karma produced matter, which are 3 groups of 10 material properties that arise together with the patisandhi citta, this arising of the rupa at this time is called upachaya, production or arising of matter. So this time it is the first time it arises, now it's being produced. So these 3 groups of 10 material properties is actually 3 groups of kalapa. Each of them have 10 material properties. So we know that the inseparable is 8, yes? So 8 plus 2
plus
other,
2 more.
plus 2 other, and then another group of 8 plus 2 other, and another group of 8 plus 2 other. So these 3 groups of 10 material properties. What are they? We are going to look at it in another section. But at the moment, we just want
introduction.
just want to know what means by upachaya, which means by production or arising of matter. So in the rebirth moment, the arising of this karma born matter is called upachaya. As well as the Buddha explained, then from the patisandhi moment, these 3 groups, which includes, actually it includes the group of bhava, which is the femininity or masculinity. So this is because of karma, of our action, then we are born as a male or female. And then the hadaya watu is another group. Then the kaya, because the material property is already being produced, so it's also there. Then jivita is life faculty. So since we are alive, all these matters are associated with life faculty. No? So these are the matters that are initially produced at the moment of patisandhi together. Then after that moment, in every other single moment, matters are continually being produced.
This is when the cells, in embryology, when the cells start separating more and more matter, and moment to moment, actually, even in the same cell, the matter are arising and passing away.
So until the moment, from patisandhi until around the 11th week, that is according to the Buddha's teaching, that the fetus, until that time, it is when the eye sensitivity, ear sensitivity, nose and tongue sensitivity are being produced
starts
already.
To being developed from, now we know from stem cells, no? But actually the Buddha already 2,600 years ago, you will see in terms of embryology, how amazing descriptions he gave on how the senses starts to becoming alive. And then the consciousness starts arising, because now there is the pasada rupa, the sensitivity of the eye, the sensitivity of the ear, tongue, etc., etc. Really, really inspiring.
So all this time, these matters are being produced, and around the 11th week, the Buddha said that all matters in one life arise fully, meaning then all the types of rupa that a human being has
will experience
like
during his life,
and all these, they are in the around 11th week, all of those are arose already for the first time.
11 week is 2 months and a half, no? Something like that.
So
3 months, almost 3 months, a little bit less, 2 months and 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The senses, all the kinds of rupa are already present on the fetus, and from then on, all these, they will just keep developing, and give the experience we are having now. With the lower degree of clarity at that time, less consciousness as we are right now, and with the variations through age, etc., etc.
So now let's focus on rupa. In the first moment, then these 3 groups of karma born rupa arises. But at that moment, there is no eye yet, no ear yet, no nose, no tongue, no nothing at that moment. So later on, with time, then it does, the fetus, it develops, and more and more matters get generated. And how this happened later on, we will also see. The Buddha explained also. It's very amazing. So then what kind of rupa start to arise? Then around 11th week, everything that needs to arise for the first time have already arisen. So this one is still called upachaya, the production of metta. So for a human being, from the moment of patisandhi until around 11th week, all this production of metta is called upachaya. Then from the 11th week, and then metta continues to keep producing until 17th moment, mind moment, before the death consciousness arises, before chuticita. All this metta continue to arise, no? But it is not the first time that it is arising. So, and all this time, it is called santati, the continuity of arising of metta.
What we call sometimes pawati.
Yeah, Pawati time.
Pawati time, existence time. Right now we are in our existence time of this life. Born, existing for 80 years, hopefully, or 80 something. And then 17 mental moments. That's the last one of this life. And the person dies, gets chuti, dies from this life, reborn to the other one, starts a new chapter. Boom.
Yes. So metta will continue, kamaja rupa, karma born metta will continue to arise. And then it will only stop 17th moment before chuticita arise. So before chuticita arise, one mental process before, then the no more kamaja rupa. So karma born metta does not arise anymore from that moment.
So the last mental process, the chuti moment, goes in automatic pilot. That person is about to die. It still have the rupas that were before born, because otherwise the body will just disappear. The rupas that were born before stay, and some of them the earth matter will stay, etc. And the consciousness just goes in automatic pilot, like when a plane turns off the engine and goes automatic for the last 17 mental moments, and then comes into a new life if that person has not yet enlightened.
Actually, at this moment we are talking about karma produced metta, no, until the 17th moment before. Because in the case that for chuticita to arise, if the metta that are produced 17 moments before and it stopped there, so after 17 moment, all kinds of karma produced metta and chuticita, they will stop at the same time. So the person is no more karma, he's dead.
Clean.
Is that, but then so what is this that is left over? There is no more karma produced metta, but there are still temperature produced metta, and still
nutrition.
This nutrition produced metta are still there, but this person is not alive anymore.
That person that day ate something, so the food's still on his body, and that's what will keep together with the temperature. So at that time, a human being becomes same as a tree. There is no consciousness in it. It will just decay. Move and decay. Thanks to temperature and wind, whatever is there, and eventually it will get scattered. The water will decrease, so the joining together of the matter will be. That's why actually the dead bodies smell bad, because they start releasing all the liquids. That's the first thing they do. A dead body starts releasing all the liquids from the body. That's the smelly part. Later on, when it gets dry, it doesn't smell anymore. You will need to go very close to smell what is that. And later on goes and disintegrate, and as the saying says, ashes go back to ashes.
Yeah. Okay. So so coming back here from the 11th week until 17th moment before the death consciousness arises, that arising of metta is called santati. So upachaya and santati are both the arising of metta, but just in different time. Now, this is the case of a human being. Some devas and brahmins, when they are born, when they're in the patisandhi moment of those beings, then already eye consciousness, ear consciousness is already there. So it arises together for them. So for them, only the first moment, patisandhi moment, is called upachaya. From the next moment, then it is called santati, because they already have everything. No?
Now, you may ask or wonder, because it was a thought of myself. How come a being can born just with the eyes and everything formed? Even in our planet, my dear family, the beings born with very difficult capabilities. You see a baby of a cow or a deer, minutes after coming out of the womb is running already. It can move, run, and go to search for the food of the mama. And often, just a few weeks after, there are some species that leave the babies alone. We are used to our human experience, and we are utterly clumsy from 0 to 6 years, we are really clumsy. We don't know how to do, we don't know how to walk, we don't know how to speak, we don't know how to feed ourselves. So it's just, the point is that nature has many possibilities and beings do born with different capabilities from the start.
Yes. Okay, so let's continue.
Good, Chalanik. I
Now-
like this class. I like this class.
Good. Now let's remember the lifespan of matter. When we see the lifespan of matter from arising to dissolving, so it has 17 mind moments, yes? Or we can also say it is actually 51 sub-moment if we count arising,
Existing,
and
away.
passing, arising, existing, passing. So it's 1, 2, 3. Each one is 3. Then it is
Times
51.
17.
51 sub-moment. Yeah, so that's the lifespan of matter. Now, if we look at those sub-moment, the first moment is called Rupasa, Upachaya, and Santati. So it is the production or the continuity. It depends on when it arises, no?
If we born or we are alive, that's continuity. That goes a little bit to your question, Diegas, the continuation of energy. It does continue because of previous matters. And remember that they are scalonated. One is coming, the other one hasn't died, and the other one come. That's why the continuation also goes a little bit towards what Fer mentioned briefly, how the continuation of not always the creation, but the continuation of the potentiality. Remember that Rupa is escalonated. It goes like this. This one haven't died when this one born, and this one born, and the other one haven't died by 17 moments. So there are 16 layers of matter, minimum 16 layers of matter, always interposed one on top of the other, and then this one died, this one born, this one died, born, coming.
So, and it's also not only one matter, no? Mind and matter. Mind arises only one by one, but the matter, because of this whole big mass, then you can see, then it is like billions and billions.
Billions and billions.
Okay, anyway, so let's come back to what we are talking about. So the production and continuity is actually meaning the first moment. It is called upachaya when it is in the patisani moment or in the 11th week time. So if this matter is being born afterwards, let's say right now, then it is called santati. Its arising is called santati. Then from the second sub-moment to the 50th sub-moment is called the decay of matter. Rupasa jarata is the decay moment. Then the 51 sub-moment, the last moment, is called Rupasa Anichata, the death or the impermanence of matter. It's dying now, passed away. So this Upachaya, Santati, production, continuity, then decay, and the death or impermanence. These four are called Lakkhana Rupa, the characteristics of Rupa. So one moment arise, 49 moments of decay, and 1 moment of passing away. So this is the characteristic. Now, in this case, we finished with all the 10 kinds of Anipphanna Rūpa. So not concretely produced matter, but only some kind of quality of attributes to the 18 concretely produced matter. First one we have seen, space element. Then we have seen
Kaya and
Vinyati. And the three qualities of Rupa, lightness, softness, and flexibility, and 4 characteristics of matter: production, continuity, decay, and impermanence of death of it. So with this 10, then we have finished all the 28 kind of Rupas, matter, and all together, these are the concretely produced matter and some attributes to this concretely produced matter. And we can call this the building blocks of what we call material things, including living beings. So later on, we will have these Lego pieces, and then we will put them together, and then we will see like their combinations and their groupings.
Wow. Very nice. How do you feel, my dear family? Amazing, isn't it? That the Buddha was so clear, so precise, so much vision to put this, and really, without the intention of criticizing, when you put a depth of a teaching of such magnitude regarding the explanations that often many ways of thinking give about the causes for the world to exist, I mean, it's just mind blowing. That's why Buddhism is called the science. It's a science, the science of mind, because literally the Buddha got in touch with very deep qualities and aspects of life, very deeply, not superficially. And you will see there are more things to look onto consciousness. And I think it's just fascinating. How do everybody one feels? How are we? We close with this?
Yes, actually, here we finish with the 10, I mean, all kinds of rupas, the 28 types of rupa we have seen already. So now we have around 15 minutes,
15 minutes,
and it's not enough to start another section. So we will stop here. Next week, we will start with the classification of rupa. The Buddha explained some more characteristics in general. Now, talking about rupa in general, he explained the characteristic of rupa. How is it different from mind? So how is it so that in like Fernando was saying, this is for practice, for putting into our experience, no? So as you remember, we have mentioned previously, then the first vipassana insight, vipassana understanding, is the clear knowing of what is mind, what is matter. So in the coming session, the Buddha give more details on how matter is different from mind, so that when we meditate, when we practice, when we see reality, then we know, this is not the characteristic of rupa, and this is the characteristic of mind, so we can clearly know what is what, to see things as they really are, no?
So if we contemplate, my dear family, what the Buddha is doing with giving us this information is already bringing us to the antesala, how you say, to the living room of understanding. The first thing we must understand is what is matter, what is consciousness clearly. Well, he needs to explain what is matter, and we will be able to recognize clearly, this is not matter, this is mind, this is not mind, this is matter. What capability has in one? And he's just bringing us closer and closer and closer, closer and closer to enlightenment, because that is the beginning of enlightenment. When we start understanding what really is body and what really is consciousness. Now, there was something that I would like to point out. If you put the set 51, the anicca characteristic. When the Buddha expressed the ultimate characteristic of change, anicca, in this graphic, I think we take a photo if you can. It is really clear how the aspect of change in matter and mind is not a concept, my dear family. We move because of it. We are alive because of it. We die because of it. And every mental thought and mental movement that we have is based on a characteristic, intrinsic characteristic of non-permanence. This is anicca, and it is happening right now. If we can talk, there is anicca. If we can move, it is anicca. Yesterday was another day, and this is constantly the Buddha say and invite us, and it's the invitation I wish to open for all of us. I'm doing it because I feel it very important. I have to confess. I feel it personally very important to really contemplate what is change. Is it really true? Are we really changing? How come I was a baby and now we are what we are right now? Why 1 month ago was 1 month ago? It is really a characteristic, and the Buddha very unmistakably said that if we pay attention to change, the deepest understanding about reality can arise out of it. Why? Because we will come to understand that because of change, there is unsatisfactoriness. There will never be happiness forever. It will change sooner or later, and they will never be satisfactory. That change has no soul, has no entity, has no self. This is what he wants. And with this chapter of matter, because we are more used to contemplate matter, we have a big body to carry around, and we are more used to the movement of it. I think we have a great window here, my dear family. Please take a photo to this image, keep it close, and let's continue contemplating. I will do. We must come to understand the real qualities of life, anicca, dukkha, and anatta, for our own benefit. And unbelievably, by understanding nature and making peace with it, we come to purify the mind and generate the most noble qualities in it. It's really amazing, my dear family. A lot of potentiality. I will invite to continue with this exploration. Now Charana is informing that our friend indeed, because today is a special day for the Vasa, for monks. It's a full moon of Vasa. So for us monks, we make the retreat of the rains. So it is kind of an important day. The Burmese community knows it, and she came right now to make an offering. So we need to stay with her a little bit. So since we finished the content of today, what time is it now? It's almost time as well. It's actually an apology for that. Let's rejoice. Let's celebrate. It's a full moon day of the Vasa, the 3-month period. The Buddha used to give this retreat for all monks. In theory, the monk cannot move from the place he started this retreat. He cannot move in these 3 months from that place, because he picks up a topic normally, and then he contemplates on that topic and apply himself for practice. So today for Burmese and Buddhist world is a big day. So we will go and accept the merit of her. Her name is Masusudi. Later, maybe we can introduce them to you. Very nice. The Burmese community help us a lot and support us. Sometimes they bring food, and it's very.
She brought food, so
she brought food. So for the lunch today. So thank you very much, everybody. Yes. Let's continue the exploration, continue the adventure. Let's contemplate on anicca. Please, let's do so. I will be doing it here. All the best, all the love. Happy Vasa, and we continue with this adventure. Thank you very much, and we continue. See you next Sunday. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idano punyam nibbana sa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibbana sa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibbana sa pacheyo hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Blessings for all our families. Stay well. We see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a good week.